For numbers 25 to 26, we're going to have both a horizontal shift, that's our h, and a vertical shift, that's our k, from the graph of y equals x squared. Once again, that's our parent graph. And the graph of it looks like the red graph over here. We're also going to have some sort of a vertical stretch or a shrink because of our a, here the -2, the 1/2, and some kind of a reflection with involving on the x-axis if our a is negative. So for example, 24 and 26 will be reflected over the x-axis. So the vertex, that's our h comma k, that's either the minimum value if the graph is going upwards like this, or the maximum value. So let's take a look at number 24. Here h is -1 and k is -2. So the vertex is at -1, -2. This is going to be a maximum in this case because this negative means the graph will be reflected over the x-axis, so it'll be an upside down U. So the vertex will be a maximum. So let's go to -1, -2. From there, we're going to do our U, which once again, as I said before, will be reflected over the x-axis because of this negative. And the 2 gives it a vertical stretch by a factor of 2. So instead of going 1 over 1, 1, we're going to do 1, 2, but it'll be reflected. So it'll be 1, 2 going this way. And instead of going 2, 4, we're going to go 2, 8, but once again reflected. So it'll be down here. Let me move this down so we have some room. So we'll go 2, 8 this way from the vertex. And then we'll have symmetry. So 1, 2, and then here the axis of symmetry is at x equals -1. So we'll have another point somewhere like this. So the graph looks something like this. Let's take a look at, so this is our x. Let's take a look at number 25. The vertex is at 1, 5. And in this case, it's a min because the parabola goes up because this is positive, the a is positive. Line of symmetry is at x equals 1. It's always the x value of the vertex. So line of symmetry is x equals 1. Now let's graph it. So we go 1 to the right and 5 up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's our vertex. It's going to be going up, as I said, because this a value is positive, but there's a vertical shrink by a factor of 1/2. So instead of going 1 to the right and 1 up, we go 1 to the right and only half up. Instead of going 2 to the right and 4 up, we're going to go 2 to the right and only 2 up, half of 4. So 2, 2. Let's do the line of symmetry. And there's our other point, and then Where's our other point? That's enough points to give us an idea as to what the graph looks like. Something like that. Okay, let's take a look at number 26. The vertex is at -2, the opposite of this value, and 1. That's our h comma k. That's our vertex. Line of symmetry or axis of symmetry, they're both the same. They mean the same thing. Is at x equals -2, x equals h. And it's reflected on the x-axis because of this negative. And there's a vertical stretch by a factor of 3. So we're going to -2, 1. We're going to reflect on the x-axis, so that means it'll be upside down. So instead of going 1 to the right and 1 up, like we normally do, we're going to go 1 to the right and 3 up, because it's a vertical stretch by a factor of 3. 1, 2, 3. But we're going to reflect it over this line. This is the line of reflection right now, because this is what I call the new imaginary x-axis that we have to reflect it over. So we're going to have the point, instead of up 3 here, we're going to have, you go 1 to the right from the vertex, and you go 3 down. So the point is really here. And instead of going 2 to the right and 4 up, you're going to go 2 to the right and 4 times 3, so 12 up. So then that will be reflected down here. So it'll be somewhere down here. Remember, once again, we're just sketching. Here's our line of symmetry. So the graph looks something like this. And remember, our vertex in this case is a maximum. That concludes 26.